My name is Jake Morrison, and 3 months ago I thought I had everything figured out. 41 years old, decent job in cybersecurity for a mid-sized tech firm, married to an ambitious lawyer named Rebecca who was climbing the corporate ladder faster than I could keep up. We lived in a nice house in Millbrook Heights, the kind of place where people wave at their neighbors and pretend their lives are perfect. Turns out pretending was the operative word. I'm sitting in my cramped apartment now, staring at bank statements that make about as much sense as a foreign language. The coffee tastes like motor oil, but it's all I can afford these days. My phone buzzes with a text from my sister-in-law, Emma. Call me. Important. Emma never texts unless someone's in the hospital or the world's ending. Given my recent luck, probably both. Jake, thank goodness, Emma says when I call. She's a nurse at Millbrook General, works nights, sees everything. I've been debating whether to tell you this for weeks. Just say it, Em. Rebecca's been moving money, large amounts. I saw the statements when I was helping Mom with her taxes last month. Your joint savings account has been hemorrhaging funds for 6 months. I pull up my banking app, something I've been avoiding since Rebecca insisted she handle our finances. The numbers make my stomach drop. 47,000 gone from savings, 17,000 from our emergency fund, all transferred to an account I don't recognize. There's more, Emma continues. My friend Diane works at the Marriott downtown. She's seen Rebecca there, multiple times, always with the same man. Who? Alec Patterson, her boss. Alec Patterson. 50-something, silver-haired, drives a Porsche, married to some socialite who organizes charity galas. I've met him at firm parties where he looks at me like I'm something stuck to his shoe. Jake, you still there? Yeah, I'm here. Before we deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. But I'm not really here. I'm somewhere else entirely, watching my life collapse in real time. Rebecca, who's been working late every night for months. Rebecca, who's been distant and irritable, blaming me for everything from the broken dishwasher to the weather. Rebecca, who suggested we take a break from intimacy because she's been stressed. What are you going to do? Emma asks. Good question. The old Jake would have confronted Rebecca directly, demanded explanations, maybe suggested counseling. The old Jake believed in fairness and communication and working things out like adults. But the old Jake was an idiot. I'm going to find out exactly what's going on, I tell Emma, and then I'm going to make some decisions. After hanging up, I sit in my kitchen that's barely bigger than a closet and think about the last year. Rebecca's sudden interest in fitness, her new wardrobe, the way she's been guarding her phone like state secrets, the late meetings that always seem to happen at restaurants, the credit card bills for expensive lingerie I never saw her wear. I boot up my laptop and start digging. One advantage of working in cybersecurity is knowing how to find information people don't want found. I'm not hacking anything illegal, just using publicly available data and some social engineering techniques that would make my old ethics professor weep. Within 2 hours, I have a timeline. Rebecca and Alec have been meeting regularly for 8 months. Hotel charges, restaurant bills, even a weekend trip to Chicago that Rebecca told me was a legal conference. The money transfers coincide perfectly with their rendezvous schedule. My phone rings. Rebecca. Jake, I'm working late again tonight. Don't wait up. Her voice is cheerful, casual, like she's not currently destroying our marriage and my financial future. Another big case? I ask. You know how it is. The Patterson account is demanding. The Patterson account. That's what she's calling it now. I'll see you tomorrow then. Actually, I might stay at the office. There's a couch in the break room, and I have an early meeting. She's not even trying to be creative with her lies anymore. After she hangs up, I make a decision that will change everything. I'm going to follow her. The Marriott downtown is the kind of place that screams expensive discretion. Marble floors, dim lighting, staff trained to see nothing and remember less. I park across the street and wait. Rebecca's BMW pulls up at 7:30. She's wearing a red dress I've never seen before, the kind that costs more than my monthly rent. The valet takes her keys with a familiarity that suggests this isn't her first visit. Alec arrives 10 minutes later in his silver Porsche. Even from across the street, I can see his smug smile as he hands over his keys like he owns the place. They don't go to the restaurant. They head straight for the elevators. I sit in my car for an hour, hands gripping the steering wheel, imagining what's happening 12 floors up in whatever suite Alec's company credit card is paying for. The rage builds slowly, like water heating to a boil. When they finally emerge, Rebecca's hair is different, and Alec has his hand on her lower back in a way that makes my vision blur. They're laughing about something, completely oblivious to the world around them. I follow Alec's Porsche to the parking garage beneath Rebecca's law firm. It's nearly empty at this hour, just a few cars belonging to workaholics and cheaters. I park and wait until they get out of the car. Rebecca sees me first. "Jake, what are you doing here?" Her voice is sharp with panic, but she recovers quickly. Rebecca's always been good at thinking on her feet. "I could ask you the same thing," I say, walking toward them. "Working late, right? Is this the new conference room?" Alec steps forward, puffing out his chest like some territorial animal. "Now see here, Morrison. This isn't what it looks like." I laugh, and the sound echoes off the concrete walls. "Really?" "Because it looks like my wife is having an affair with her boss and stealing money from our joint accounts to pay for it." Rebecca's face goes white. "Jake, you don't understand. 47,000 from savings, 17 from emergency funds. Should I keep going?" Alec's jaw tightens. "You need to leave, now." "Or what? You'll call security?" "Go ahead. I'm sure your wife would love to know where you spend your evenings." That hits home. Alec's face reddens, and for a moment I think he might actually take a swing at me. Instead, he pulls out his phone. "I'm calling the police. This is harassment." "Good idea," I say. "While you're at it, maybe explain to them why you're embezzling company funds for hotel rooms." Rebecca finally finds her voice. "Jake, please, we can talk about this at home." "Home? You mean the house you're planning to steal from me, too?" The parking garage falls silent, except for the hum of fluorescent lights and the distant sound of traffic. Rebecca and Alec exchange a look that tells me everything I need to know. They've discussed this. They have plans. "I want a divorce," Rebecca says quietly. "I figured that much out. What I want to know is how long you've been planning to ruin my life." Alec steps closer, his expensive cologne mixing with the smell of motor oil and concrete. "Your marriage was over long before Rebecca and I don't let him finish. My fist connects with his perfectly straight nose, and he stumbles backward into his precious Porsche. Rebecca screams, but I'm already walking away. "This isn't over," I call back to them. "Not even close." As I drive home, my knuckles throbbing, I realize something has fundamentally changed inside me. The old Jake who believed in fairness and playing by the rules is gone. In his place is someone harder, angrier, and a lot more creative. Rebecca wants a war. She's about to get one. The next morning, I wake up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. Most are from Rebecca, ranging from angry to pleading to threatening. A few are from numbers I don't recognize, probably Alec and his lawyer friends. I ignore them all and drive to Rusty's bar, a dive on the south side where my best friend Frank serves drinks to construction workers and plays referee to domestic disputes. Frank's an ex-cop who knows where all the bodies are buried in this town, metaphorically speaking. "You look terrible," Frank says, sliding a coffee across the bar. "Emma called, said you might need someone to talk to." Frank's the kind of friend who asks no questions and judges nothing. We've known each other since high school, back when my biggest worry was passing chemistry and asking Jennifer Walsh to prom. "Rebecca's having an affair," I tell him, "with her boss. They've been stealing money from our accounts." Frank nods, like this confirms something he already suspected. "Alec Patterson, right? Guy's got a reputation. This isn't his first time dancing with a married employee." "What do you mean?" 3 years ago, similar situation. Young paralegal, husband found out, made noise about it. Next thing you know, the husband's arrested for domestic violence, loses his job, paralegal gets a promotion and transfers to the Chicago office. The implications sink in slowly. "You think they're planning to frame me for something?" "I think Alec Patterson doesn't get where he is by playing fair, and I think your wife's learned some tricks from him." Frank's right. Rebecca's always been ambitious, but lately she's been ruthless. The way she manipulated our finances without me noticing, the careful construction of her alibis, the fact that she had her phone ready to record when I confronted them in the parking garage. "What would you do?" I ask Frank. He considers this while wiping down glasses. "The old me would tell you to get a good lawyer and fight clean. But the old me believed the system was fair. And now? Now I think sometimes you have to get dirty to get even. I spend the next week gathering intelligence. Rebecca's moved out of our house and into a furnished apartment downtown, claiming she needs space to think. She's also hired Mitchell and Associates, the most expensive divorce firm in the city. Meanwhile, I'm living off savings that are rapidly dwindling and trying to keep my job while my personal life implodes. My boss, Dave Chen, calls me into his office on Friday afternoon. "Jake, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be straight with me." Dave's a good guy who gave me a chance when I was starting out in cybersecurity. He's also got a company to protect. There are rumors floating around about you having some kind of breakdown, something about harassing your wife and her colleagues. Who told you that? Does it matter? The question is whether it's true. I look at Dave's concerned face and realize this is another piece of Rebecca and Alec's strategy. Destroy my reputation, isolate me from support systems, make me look unstable. It's not true, I say. But I can't prove that right now. Dave nods slowly. I'm going to need you to take some time off. Get your personal situation sorted out. When you're ready to come back, we'll talk. It's not a firing, but it's close. I clean out my desk while my colleagues avoid eye contact, probably wondering what I did to deserve this treatment. That evening, I sit in my empty apartment and take inventory. My wife's gone. My job's in jeopardy. My savings are depleted. My reputation is being systematically destroyed by people who have more money and connections than I do. The old Jake would have felt defeated, but I'm not the old Jake anymore. I boot up my laptop and start working. If Rebecca and Alec want to play dirty, I'm going to show them what dirty really looks like. Revenge, I discover, is a lot like coding. It requires patience, attention to detail, and the ability to think several steps ahead of your target. Lucky for me, I've got 20 years of experience in cybersecurity and a lot of free time. I start with social engineering, the art of manipulating people into revealing information they shouldn't. Rebecca's always been careless with passwords, using variations of her birthday and our anniversary for everything. Alec's even worse, his LinkedIn profile practically a roadmap to his security questions. Within a week, I have access to email accounts, social media profiles, and financial records that paint a very different picture than the one they've been presenting to the world. Rebecca and Alec aren't just having an affair. They're running a sophisticated embezzlement scheme, billing personal expenses to client accounts and covering their tracks with creative bookkeeping. The hotel rooms, expensive dinners, even Rebecca's new wardrobe are all being charged to Patterson, Mills, and Associates' biggest clients. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is what they're saying about me in their private messages. Jake's too stupid to figure it out, but too stubborn to just disappear, Rebecca wrote to Alec 3 weeks ago. Don't worry about him, Alec replied. I've dealt with problem husbands before. A few well-placed rumors about mental instability, maybe a restraining order, and he'll be neutralized. Neutralized. Like I'm some kind of threat to be eliminated. There are dozens of messages like this, documenting their strategy to destroy my life and reputation. They've been planning this for months, maybe longer. Every move calculated to leave me isolated and powerless. I print everything and organize it into neat folders. Evidence of embezzlement, proof of their affair, documentation of their conspiracy to frame me as unstable and dangerous. It's enough to destroy both their careers and possibly land them in prison. But I don't go to the police. Not yet. Instead, I decide to have some fun. Alec's pride and joy is his silver Porsche 911, which he parks in the same reserved spot every day at Patterson, Mills, and Associates. It's a beautiful car, probably worth more than I make in 2 years. I wait until midnight on a Tuesday, then slip into the parking garage using skills I learned during a corporate security assessment last year. The building's security is impressive on paper, but laughably easy to bypass if you know what you're looking for. I don't damage the car. That would be vandalism, and I'm not interested in giving them ammunition for criminal charges. Instead, I get creative. I cover every surface of the Porsche with bumper stickers. Hundreds of them, ordered online and delivered to various addresses around the city. Political slogans, crude jokes, advertisements for services Alec would never patronize. It takes 3 hours to apply them all, but the result is spectacular. Then I wait. The next morning, I'm parked across the street with a camera when Alec discovers his transformed vehicle. His reaction is everything I hoped for and more. He screams, kicks a tire, and appears to have some kind of panic attack right there in the parking garage. The best part is Rebecca's response. Instead of comforting him, she starts yelling about how this proves I'm dangerous and unstable. Their argument escalates until building security has to intervene. I record the whole thing and upload it to an anonymous social media account I created specifically for this purpose. Within hours, it's been shared hundreds of times with captions like, "Lawyer has meltdown over harmless prank," and "When keeping it real goes wrong." The video goes viral in our small city's social media circles. Alec becomes a laughingstock overnight, the uptight lawyer who lost his mind over some stickers. But I'm just getting started. Over the next 2 weeks, I launch a campaign of psychological warfare that would make Sun Tzu proud. I sign Alec up for every mailing list, charity solicitation, and telemarketing service I can find. His office phone rings constantly with calls from organizations wanting donations for causes he's never heard of. I create fake social media profiles and start following Rebecca's friends and colleagues, liking old photos and leaving comments that are just strange enough to be unsettling. Nothing threatening or illegal, just weird enough to make people uncomfortable. I anonymously tip off local reporters about irregularities in Patterson, Mills, and Associates' billing practices, providing just enough information to spark interest without revealing my sources. The pressure starts to show. Rebecca's carefully constructed image begins to crack as rumors circulate about her personal life and professional ethics. Alec becomes paranoid and short-tempered, snapping at colleagues and clients. Their relationship, built on deception and mutual selfishness, starts to fracture under the stress. Everything comes to a head on a Thursday evening in late October. Rebecca calls me for the first time in weeks, her voice shaking with rage and desperation. "I know it's you, Jake. All of this. The stickers, the phone calls, the reporters asking questions." "I don't know what you're talking about," I say, though we both know that's not true. "This has to stop. You're destroying both our lives." "Funny, I thought you already did that when you decided to steal my money and sleep with your boss." There's a long pause. When Rebecca speaks again, her voice is different, colder. "Meet me at the old Riverside warehouse. Tonight at 10. Come alone and we'll settle this once and for all." The Riverside warehouse is an abandoned building on the edge of town where teenagers go to drink beer and spray paint walls. It's isolated, dark, and exactly the kind of place where bad decisions get made. I should probably be worried about walking into some kind of trap, but I'm past caring about my personal safety. Besides, I've got my own plans for tonight. I arrive early and wait in the shadows, watching as cars pull up one by one. Rebecca's BMW, followed by Alec's replacement vehicle, a black Mercedes that screams overcompensation, then a car I don't recognize, probably belonging to someone else in their circle of corruption. They gather in the main warehouse space, their voices echoing off the concrete walls. I activate the recording app on my phone and move closer. "This is getting out of hand," Alec is saying. "The partners are asking questions about the billing irregularities. If they dig deeper—" "They won't," Rebecca interrupts. "We've covered our tracks." "Have we?" Because Jake seems to know an awful lot about our business. Jake's a small-time tech worker with a grudge. He's not smart enough to bring us down. I step out of the shadows, my phone held high, still recording. "Want to bet on that?" They spin around, faces pale in the dim light filtering through broken windows. Rebecca recovers first, her lawyer training kicking in. "Jake, you came. Wouldn't miss it, though I have to say your faith in my intelligence is touching." Alec steps forward, trying to project authority he doesn't possess. "This ends tonight. Whatever game you're playing?" "Game." I laugh, and the sound bounces off the walls like a gunshot. "You think this is a game? You stole my money, destroyed my marriage, tried to ruin my career, and you think this is a game?" I pull out a thick folder and toss it at their feet. Financial records, emails, photos, everything I've collected over the past month scatter across the concrete floor. "Here's what's going to happen," I continue. "Rebecca, you're going to transfer every penny you stole back to our joint account. Alec, you're going to resign from Patterson, Mills, and Associates and recommend that Rebecca be terminated immediately." "You can't prove anything," Rebecca says, but her voice lacks conviction. "I can prove everything. Embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy, adultery. Take your pick." Alec's face is red with anger and embarrassment. "You're blackmailing us." "I'm offering you a choice. Do the right thing voluntarily, or have it forced on you by the state attorney general's office." "You wouldn't dare," Rebecca says. "You'd implicate yourself in whatever illegal methods you used to get this information." "Would I? Let's find out." I pull out my phone and dial a number I memorized weeks ago. The phone rings twice before a familiar voice answers. "Channel 7 News, this is David Martinez." "David, this is the anonymous source who's been providing tips about corruption at Patterson, Mills, and Associates. I'm ready to go on the record with everything." Rebecca lunges for my phone, but I step back, keeping the connection active. I'm at the Riverside warehouse with Rebecca Morrison and Alec Patterson right now. They're about to confess to embezzling hundreds of thousands of dollars from their law firm's clients. "Wait," Alec says desperately. "Let's talk about this." But I'm done talking. I've spent months being manipulated, lied to, and treated like an obstacle to be removed. Tonight, they're going to face the consequences of their choices. "David, are you getting this? Because I'm about to play some very interesting recordings." I hit play on another app, and Rebecca's voice fills the warehouse. Jake's too stupid to figure it out, but too stubborn to just disappear. Then Alec. "I've dealt with problem husbands before. A few well-placed rumors about mental instability, maybe a restraining order, and he'll be neutralized. The silence that follows is broken only by the sound of sirens in the distance. I called the police before I called the reporter. Anonymous tip about suspicious activity at the warehouse. Looks like our time is up, I say, walking toward the exit. I'd suggest you all get your stories straight, because this is about to become very public. Rebecca calls after me, her voice cracking with desperation. Jake, please, we can work this out. I'll give you everything back. The money, the house, whatever you want. I pause at the doorway and look back at the three of them standing in the ruins of their conspiracy. Rebecca, who traded our marriage for ambition and found herself with neither. Alec, who built his success on other people's misery and is about to lose everything. And their unnamed accomplice, probably some junior associate who thought helping them would advance her career. What I want, I say, is for you to understand what it feels like to have your life destroyed by people you trusted. The police cars are pulling into the parking lot as I walk to my car. I drive away slowly, watching in my rearview mirror as officers enter the warehouse. My phone buzzes with a text from Frank. Saw the news. Drinks on me? I smile and type back. On my way. The old Jake would have felt guilty about what just happened. He would have worried about proportionality and fairness and whether he'd gone too far. But the old Jake was naive enough to believe that playing by the rules would protect him from people who had no rules at all. The new Jake understands that sometimes justice requires getting your hands dirty, and sometimes the only way to win is to make sure everyone else loses. As I drive through the city streets toward Frank's bar, I feel something I haven't experienced in months. Peace. Not happiness exactly, but the satisfaction of a job well done. Rebecca wanted a divorce. She's going to get one, along with criminal charges and professional disgrace. Alec wanted to neutralize me. Instead, he neutralized himself. And I wanted revenge. Mission accomplished.